The Strangers took the horror community by storm in 2008, and the sequel came swinging in 2018. With the reboot, Scoot, and Boogie trilogy on the way, it was only right to take a closer look at these two films and what makes them so special.
Why are you doing this to us? Because you were home.
Do you know Brian Bernardino didn't do shit before this? But he wrote the script for The Strangers and won a writing contest. So that's
What?
Yeah. They gave him $9 million.
The cast sort of described it as a terror film rather than a horror film, and that makes just so much sense. You don't see anyone die until like a little over halfway through the movie, maybe a little less. The person that dies isn't killed by the killers.
Hello.
No, well, sort of. It depends how you look at it.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, that's true. That's part of the fun of this movie too. Just throughout the whole thing, you feel like you're being watched. And in that, there's a lot of subtlety that this movie has with the stalking that the killer family does to this couple.
Every now and then, a movie comes along that is so scary it makes you briefly believe in Jesus.
Save me, Jesus!
And for me, this is that movie.
I think we've been talking a lot lately about how effective simple storytelling is. This is a very good example of that. They show you everything you need to know. There's no massive dumps of dialogue explaining every aspect of everything that's going on camera. It makes it unlike other horror movies because you're not going to get told what's going on. It's just like a blip of time of these couples' short lives that you're going to see.
It's all constructed with a purpose in mind, which in the first few minutes of this film is intended to make you feel comfortable, to make this audience draw in close so that we can
crush their souls and make them weep for a god they don't believe in.
That's so fucking brutal. I love it.
The last bit was paraphrased a little.
There's no air of fantasy here. It's completely possible for something like this to happen. And I mean, it's based off of true events, obviously, but you never have to suspend your disbelief.
I hope that air of mystery to The Strangers remains, because that's part of what makes them so terrifying.
This is phase 1 of the Strangers cinematic universe.
They shot this movie in chronological order. By the time they filmed that final death scene, the crew members were actually getting emotional on set about it.
Oh, wow. I could definitely see how that would pay off. Like just going through the story on set, all the crew members going through the same story all together and then getting to the end of that, I could definitely see it being emotional.
When it comes to home invasion, I'm more on like the Home Alone side of the spectrum.
Why can't they just put a paint can on top of a door and have it fall on top of them?
Heads up!
10 years after The Strangers comes out is The Strangers 2, and it's sort of crazy. Like, how many times has that happened where such a long time period has passed and then the sequel comes out?
It was one of those situations where it kind of went through pre-production hell.
There's such a stark difference between the first one and this one. The Strangers 2 was more of a fleshed out story, and the style that The Strangers themselves are, I don't think it lent itself as well.
What's like the worst thing I could call this right now? We open up our playground.
Ooh.
There's a lot more ground to cover here. That level of intimacy, the idea of we are inside looking out, is gone in the second one. But it's replaced with, like, instead this homage to the golden age of slasher films. No longer are we invading homes, we are terrorizing trailer parks.
I wish they did this at like a really white trash trailer park.
He came at me with an axe, but he tripped over my spit bucket and I got away.
Before he killed me, let me put the dip in.
The best scene in the whole fucking movie is the pool.
But I would argue an even better scene, especially for this being The Strangers, is when Kinsey is in the pipe.
Leave us alone!
But we've just started.
You
Yeah, that's what I mean by playing with your food. That's part of what made the first so special, is that they were there the whole time. They knew what they were tracking their every motion. I was worried because they sort of started dipping into that territory of Michael Myers. Are they just unkillable? And can they just find these people anywhere?
Perhaps maybe that was just them playing into that 70s, 80s slasher aesthetic. Maybe perhaps these characters are more malleable than we're giving them credit for. And depending on the time and the place and the situation we put the strangers in, thus they shall respond. And that's kind of the beauty of these characters, is they will be terrifying no matter where you put them.
I feel like the movie itself, especially compared to how good the first one is, having things like that happen, or having the man in the mask drive a car that's on fire while he's also on fire to chase this girl down, like, don't get me wrong, the shot itself is gorgeous in this. It didn't take away from my enjoyment of the movie, but when comparing the two, that is what sets the first apart, is that it doesn't have any of those moments where I don't believe that something like this is happening.
Strangers Prey at Night doesn't quite hold up a torch to the first film, but rather a neon glow stick purchased at a bowling alley or skate rink. It has some similar elements, but at the end of the day, they just couldn't resist 80s washing the fuck out of it.
We have this new trilogy on the way, new director. Where do you hope he takes it?
I don't know what I want. I know what's going to happen. I'm going to be scared shitless and will develop a fear of going to a particular place. It sounds like Airbnb is next up on that list.
What is absolutely going to be happening is, with the modernization of these movies, we're going to see obviously the Airbnb, but also what they can do with smartphones and maybe something like Alexa, all that shit. They're going to put that to use.
Immediately what came to mind in Us, when the doppelgangers attack the Tyler family and the Alexa starts playing, what song does she start playing?
Plays Fuck the Police.
Ophelia, call the police.
Sure, playing Fuck the Police by NWA.
Ew, no, Alexa, stop.
It'll be fun to see how they incorporate some of that stuff.
Yeah, get scared shitless, get peer pressured into watching it, probably because of you.
Check and check.
And that's just my luck. I'm gonna get hit 3 times in 1 fucking year.
Yet to be confirmed, but probably.
I don't have very good luck, so probably.